Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to crack open those silent metal boxes you see everywhere, the ones that manage the electrical lifeblood of our homes, our offices, and pretty much everything else. We're going to dive into this hidden world and see what really makes them tick.
I mean, seriously, have you ever actually stopped to think about what's going on inside them? They're on walls, tucked away in basements, mounted on poles. These steel guardians are the true unsung heroes of our modern lives. And today, we're going to find out exactly what they do and why they are so important.
All right, first up, let's head straight to the main hub. This is the command center for a building's entire electrical system. So at its very core, an electrical panel has one huge, life-saving job: to hold all the critical electrical gear and, most importantly, to keep us safe from getting shocked. You can think of it as the #1 line of defense between you and the raw power coming into your building.
Yeah, thinking of it as a fortress is a perfect way to picture it. It's the secure, lockdown chamber that protects all the delicate and dangerous stuff inside. But it also lets us safely control how power gets sent out to the rest of the building.
So what's actually in this fortress? Well, inside you've got a whole bunch of switches. Those are your circuit breakers, and they're like little safety valves that automatically trip if there's an overload. Then you have monitoring tools, all kinds of control parts, and just a ton of critical safety equipment that's all designed to prevent a catastrophe.
Okay, so let's talk about the walls of this fortress. Why are these things almost always made of metal, and usually steel? Well, there are some really good reasons for that.
And it's not just because it looks tough or because it's strong, though that definitely helps. The choice to use metal is all about function, and it's tied directly to the physics of electricity.
This really shows you how perfect steel is for the job. First, it offers serious physical protection from, getting knocked around. It also acts like a shield against something called electromagnetic interference, or EMI, which is kind of like electrical static that can mess with the circuits inside. And, most critically, metal is a fantastic conductor, which is essential for a safety feature called grounding. And trust me, that's so important we're going to give it its own section in a bit.
But here's where it gets interesting. Not all steel is created equal. In the world of electrical panels, you've basically got two main types that are used for different jobs, and each one has its own special superpower.
On one side, you have grade 304 steel. This is your everyday protector. It's awesome against humidity and super easy to clean, which is why you see it in places like hospitals or food processing plants. Then, on the other side, you have grade 316. This stuff is the industrial guardian. It's tougher, more rigid, and built to handle harsh chemicals, acids, and salt. It's so resistant to rust that it's the only choice for places like oil rigs and ships.
So how do we actually measure this difference in toughness? Well, engineers use a standard system called an IP rating, which stands for Ingress Protection. It's just a 2-digit code. The first number tells you how well it protects against solids, like dust, and the second tells you how well it keeps out liquids, like water. Pretty simple. Higher numbers mean better protection.
So for our everyday hero, the grade 304 steel panel, you're usually looking at an IP rating of 54. That 5 means it's really well protected from dust getting in, and the 4 means it can handle getting splashed with water from any direction. It's perfect for most indoor spots.
But when you jump up to the Industrial Guardian, grade 316, the standard is higher. An IP rating of 64 means that the 6 makes it completely dust-tight, nothing's getting in. The 4 still means it can handle splashes. That big step up in dust protection is exactly why you'd find it in a harsher, more demanding place like a factory or a ship.
Okay, so we've got the main fortress covered. But now let's look at its smaller but just as important little outposts you find all over the system. The junction box.
Right, so if the electrical panel is the big command center, a junction box is like a secure, protected meeting room. It's just a small box where a bunch of different electrical wires can come together, get connected safely, and then head off on their separate ways.
And you might be thinking, well, why not just run one super long wire from point A to point B? Why do we need all these little boxes everywhere? Turns out, they serve a few really critical jobs that help the whole system work safely and efficiently.
And here's the rundown of why they're so essential. First, they let you make those wire connections neat and secure. Second, they protect those connections, which are pretty fragile, from dust, moisture, and getting bumped. They also make repairs way easier, because an electrician knows exactly where the connections are. And finally, they help split power from one main cable into several smaller ones.
And trust me, once you know what you're looking for, you start seeing these things everywhere.
They're crucial for lighting systems, for CCTV cameras, for the keycard scanners that let you into a building, industrial machines, even the computer networks that connect our whole digital world. Okay, we've seen the fortress and its outposts. But now we have to talk about the single most important safety rule in this entire system. The one rule you absolutely cannot break: grounding.
I'm going to read this quote directly because it just says it all. A box that is not connected to ground allows electricity to go wherever it wants. This is not a good thing. And yeah, not a good thing is a huge understatement. It's incredibly dangerous. This is why having a metal box is so important. Grounding connects that metal box directly to the earth with a wire, so if there's ever a short circuit or a power surge, all that dangerous stray electricity has a super easy, safe path to follow right into the ground, instead of, say, through a person or into something that could start a fire. It's the ultimate electrical escape route.
So, let me be perfectly clear. Proper grounding isn't just a good idea, it's the final, non-negotiable line of defense between a safe electrical system and a total disaster. It's what makes the whole steel fortress idea actually work.
So from that main panel all the way down to the tiniest junction box, these steel guardians are working 24/7 to keep our world powered up and, more importantly, safe. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What other hidden systems, what other invisible guardians are quietly working all around us, keeping us safe right now?